Bro, what the
Hey, you guys will
give
not
you?
believe what I on stream just rolled.
No, the worst part.
What are you talking? No, why? How?
I don't know!
Did you do it again?
He did.
What did he do?
How?
It rolled Ruby again!
How?
Line?
Wheel of Names is clearly cursed.
Oh.
It wants us to suffer.
Alright, this is workable. Orbs, angst, Japant weeb honorifics. A system summary sucks. Female author, yep. I can work with this for dark, edgy. Summary inside, V2, script, unannounced. I can work with this for Ruby Boys.
Sure.
But Max, my eye sockets, they only ache after I sneeze like 7 times in a row.
Yep.
Which happens a lot now.
Yep.
What in the actual fuck did he give you?
I don't know.
It sounds like you've been hit with a combination of the flu and hay fever. That's
Flaggle Splurgle, your gift from Nurgle.
yeah, apparently.
Also, the grand total of all food I have eaten over the past 48 hours is a banana.
You should power down some that Vit C.
I've been chugging I've been drinking a lot. I've been chugging orange juice like it's the nectar of the gods.
Fair enough.
Completely fair.
I just have an entire carton of emergency that I chug down constantly whenever I get slightly sick.
Okay, wait, Sneaky. This is another Midwest thing that I'm sure your mom had the container of she had the vitamin C, the echinacea, and what's the other one? Right.
Blueberry?
Every time you
elderberry.
so much as mildly twitch, she's like, "Take these."
Elderberry.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I really don't have any stories from work. I had one fucking retard today who was like, "Hey, my email stopped working." And I go look at his computer and it says in big fucking letters, "Please log in." It's like, well, you gotta log in. What's my username? Your fucking email? Oh. What's my password? I don't know.
I don't know. Based on the way that this particular individual sounds, it might have been, "I want to fuck my sister."
Maybe, man. I don't know. I'm just... Man, it's... I've said this so many times, but I take active, like, fatigue damage from people who refuse to learn how to use the devices they're using. Like, I totally get it if antivirus and routing and all of that shit goes over your head. Understandable. Logging in with a username and password, it's like bare fucking minimum. It's that's the same as expecting people to know they need to put gas in their car to make the engine turn on.
Yeah.
Like if you cannot manage that bare fucking minimum, I don't know why I'm supposed to help you. But because it's tech, nope. Was it an old guy? Nope. He was like, he sounded maybe 20 to 30 at most. Some people are just stupid, and they don't take the time to ever learn how to do anything. Or they're too stupid to learn how to do anything. Usually it's a mix of both. It just is what it is. But, yeah, no, it's... I was talking with someone earlier today. It's a massive fucking problem, you know? Technology's all well and good, right? Love technology. Technology makes things so much fucking easier than, you know, the things that really should be, right? Great shit. But smart people like us, when technology comes around to make things easier, we still know the process behind the thing that's being made easier, generally. Not precisely, but generally. We still know how to clean a dish despite owning a dishwasher. We still
Yeah.
know how to clean a car despite having car cleaner places. We still know how to fucking change the oil despite having that as a service.
I
You know,
want to be clear. I do technically know how to change my oil. Like, I understand the process to do it. I would probably fuck it up somewhere along the way, but I
oh
at
yeah,
least
no,
understand
I'm
the
not.
process.
I'm not saying that you need to be able to do it. I'm just saying you just know the idea behind the process of I need to change my oil because the oil gets dirty because I'm driving a car that runs on explosion.
Yes.
Like people don't understand. Like there's people out there that I have met in person, in real life, that didn't understand why their oil needed to be changed, so they didn't. And then their car caught fire. And they're like, I don't understand how this happened. You didn't change the fucking oil. And there is people out there that if I told them to wash the dishes, they would just run water over the dish and maybe like slap their hand on it.
They can't be that stupid. They can't be. I know they are, but they can't be.
And I'm just like, and tech is the same way, you know? I understand that there is password managers out there. Hell, I use one. However, I still know how to remember my own fucking passwords if I need. Like, the truly important passwords, I don't let the password manager, you know, garble up a random gibberish password for. Like, lastfm.com, gibberish password, I don't give a fuck. But my email, my main personal email, is a specific password that I've crafted for me to remember. That isn't just first name, last name, birthday.
Yeah.
Because I need to be able to enter that password into things that might not have my password manager on it. So I need to know that fucking password. And of all things, I can understand not remembering a password for some office program you use, but you only have to log into it once every 6 months when it requires you to change the password. I totally understand you not remembering that one. I get it. But your password that you need to put in every single fucking morning? You can't remember that?
They probably just leave their computer open all day. Like,
They probably do.
because
I
here's
mean,
the thing.
I do the same, but that's
I
a
knew
different
people.
reason.
I knew people like that. I knew a bunch of people who were super fucking mad when my company was like, "Hey, if your computer is idle for more than 15 minutes, you're getting logged out." They're like, "But then I have to log back in and remember my password." Yeah, it's called security.
Well, I mean, it's also just like now. I will say I have circumvented the idle mechanic on my computer, because my company requires us to put these in obnoxiously long passwords in, because security. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, yeah, I'm not doing that. The downside of having IT people as your main workforce. But, even then, I still know the password. It's not like I'm trying to avoid putting the password in because I forget it or something. God, no. I know the password by fucking heart. I can put it in. I just don't feel like putting it in every 10 fucking minutes.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so it's just like, with a lot of these people, it's like their passwords aren't fucking complicated. It's usually something like 8 characters long, a capital letter, a number, and a symbol. And it's
Yeah,
just like,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, if you really can't fucking manage that, it's like that's like Snake 9 exclamation point. Oh wow, that fucking fulfilled the requirements. You can't remember that? Really?
Yeah.
I just But anyway, yeah, so let's get to the fan fiction part where people tell us
Oh,
about their really
God,
bad
let's not.
ideas. Do any of my chapters hit those? God, I hope not. I remember we went over your original story. Let's see, original story. No, you didn't say any of those. You didn't say any of those. You did do the original fiction part, but I mean, it was an original fiction, not a fanfic. So there you go. We weren't flashbanged by words.
Yeah.
No
Honestly,
random
your
abuse.
stuff was pretty good.
Oh yeah, it was good overall. Yeah, no, you didn't have any. Yeah, no, you didn't have any of those show up. You're fine, Caesar. Oh, so there was a story I follow that actually had the author pop off in the form on.
Oh?
Oh no, I just read through it.
Basically, people were masturbating in his form post thread about the idea of magic being introduced to Honkai Star Rail, which the readers were, of course, in true reader fashion, proposing magic being introduced to Honkai Star Rail as like some sort of out of context problem that would just completely, blow away everything in the property.
You say don't they have an intergalactic fucking space train, like an actual literal intergalactic space train?
Yes.
Well, not only do they have that, they also have a world where technology is so advanced it is literally magic. They have magic. They have a world where magic is so advanced it's literally technology, and they also have the Sea of Quanta, which, from my vague understandings, was basically fuck you.
Yeah, the Sea of Quanta in the Honkai universe is basically a primordial dimensional soup
Yeah.
in between like the various worlds and shit. It is literally just nonsensical, and if you have enough power, you can straight up bend reality in it. It's not a good place to stay because it will probably kill you over time, but you can traverse it if you have sufficient enough tech.
Right, so literally it's magic. Yeah, so anyway, they also have a whole thing where they have it's called like imaginary energy, according to the author, and basically everything in the setting slots into imaginary energy as an explanation just fine.
Yes.
And so does magic. And so the author completely popped off about this because he was so pissed at people, not only in HSR, but in other settings, being like, oh, well, magic being introduced from this other random setting is going to make this setting's magic get totally blown away, and it's going to be so awesome and furious masturbation. So yeah, he kind of got really angry about it. Now, he was wrong about the worm bit solely because we do have a word of God that has never been contradicted by Wildbow, saying that magic does not exist for the shards. That everything they do is effectively Clark-Techium technology. Because magic is skipping steps, whereas technology has to go through the steps. We're finding shortcuts.
Ugh. Sure.
It's
Whatever
like,
you say. Author.
well, it's like magic is conjuring a fireball. You don't need to find anything to light on fire. You aren't providing energy to heat up the area to turn it into fire. And there's no chemical reaction taking place. But you're still creating fire.
Yeah.
Technology lets you skip a bunch of those steps in where, say, electrolysis, you shoot fucking lightning between two metal rods inside of water, and you create a bunch of gas instead of going through a complex chain reaction to create the gas. You just provide a shit ton of energy in one burst. Good luck, have fun, especially the fun part. True. But yeah, technology is finding out shortcuts. You no longer have to gather a bunch of, to use fire as an example, we now have gas that we can provide a spark for that provides instant ignition for a sustained period to allow us to heat something up in a very quick manner to start a fire. Before, we had to find a bunch of scrap detritus, compact it into a small pill, effectively, rub a stick really, really hard for a while to produce an ember, dump the ember on top of the detritus pile, blow on it a while until it catches fire by providing oxygen to it, and then move the detritus pile under the thing we want to burn quickly enough that it doesn't put out the fire, but we also don't burn ourselves in the process of trying to do it. And then we have to hope that the detritus pile produces enough heat over a sustained period of time to cause everything else in the pile to catch on fire. We skip all of that by just preparing a highly oxidizable liquid that burns at a high heat instantly. That's technology. Fireball is. So, anyway. And then Clark-Techium would be casting Fireball with technology because the fucking staff vibrates the air in front of you using wavelength frequencies to cause heat to spontaneously manifest. Some bullshit. Like, that's Clark-Techium technology, which is basically what the shards do. Long time no see. I'm not dead. Good to see you guys aren't either. Yeah, don't worry. We'll be hosting this podcast even after we die. We've actually found out the secret to haunting Twitch. We're here forever. Indeed. So anyway, the wheel has picked Ruby for us. Again.
It never ends.
So we're doing Ruby. Again. Though, to be fair to our last 2 attempts at doing Ruby, we did derail pretty massively. Both times. And we only got like 1 story done. So, I think this time around, now that Sign isn't here to give us any massive L's and derail the whole
Yeah.
chat.
Yeah, by the way, can we make the sign L a free space tonight since he's not here?
Sure.
Great.
Did I?
Just assume that whatever Sign did to make himself not show up was a massive L.
Because
Yeah,
I've
I don't
noticed
have it.
so some of us do have it. Me, Atin, and Nora, for example, have it.
Sorry, I had to mute myself because I assumed that no one wanted to hear the ASMR of me blowing my nose.
Truly,
Well-
you've robbed the world of something.
I hope no one wanted to hear that. So here's the most baffling part I've always felt when it came to FFN. They have an RSS feed button. Where you can just whole ass add the front page of whatever the section you have open to your RSS feed, which I believe personally is a particular way of being exceedingly cursed. Like, why would you want to know every time a story updates in, like, any section, period? Like, why wouldn't you just favorite it? What? Like, is your lust for Ruby stories so immense that you are going to investigate every single story that updates?
Apparently.
God forbid you turn on the RSS feed in, like, the Naruto section. That Anyway, so here we go. A step outside the wildfire. Not sure what the fuck that's supposed to mean, but okay. That, you know what? That's pithy enough. I could see that on an original story as a title. Just pithy enough. Everyone and everything has their placement in time. Okay. Except, oh, we've talked about this one before. Yeah, Neo is able to fate break herself, and so she decides to have sex with Ruby, and they go fight Cinder together. Yeah, we've covered that one.
Oh, was there ever a response from Friday night's stream
Oh, no.
where y'all just
No.
dunked him in the reviews within 4
No.
minutes?
I don't think so. Let's see if, I think it was Grimling, right?
No,
Sorry, we
no, not Gremlin. You guys didn't even read it. The author's note put you off.
True.
Which again, as I said that stream, it would have put me off, but I was interested enough to be like, all right, I'll stick with it. I mostly enjoyed it, but it's mostly because he's actually doing something interesting. with some
Might
of the
be pricey
characters.
to replace. Sorry, hold on. I have to. So we might get that free sign L anyway.
Hmm?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
This dumbass.
Wait. How did
What
you kill a
happened?
12 terabyte hard drive? Those are still like, those haven't been on the market for more than like 6 years. How did you kill it?
He's a swamp thing. Of course he managed to.
Oh my god.
Jesus fucking Christ, sign.
It's
I wish I had.
$200, $100. Like, this is not expensive to replace.
Yeah,
For 12
for
fucking
a hard
terabytes?
for a hard drive, nah. You should be getting. The only time it starts getting expensive is when you look at the externals, because those are coming with bays ostensibly, so they're charging an extra of anywhere from 30 to $70.
I mean, I'm looking at
But for an
internals here,
internal,
and they're going
sub
anywhere.
200.
I
Actually,
mean,
how much is a? Okay, well, all right, a 7200 can get a little more expensive depending on who you go through.
really, if you really should be just setting up a NAS. If you have a 12 terabyte internal hard drive, you should just be setting up a NAS at that point, and just slap like, I don't know. Let's see what the cheapest internals are. Let's see here. Do indoor hard drive as opposed to an outdoor hard drive?
That is a thing. Sadly, because for some reason we decided that yes, we will make more robust hard drives that can brave the elements for some fucking reason.
But
Instead of
why?
just designing an enclosure that would be significantly cheaper. That would
Of
be able to.
course, yeah.
Well, because sometimes you got to take that shit out in the field. Of course, if you're taking anything out in the field these days, you should really be using an SSD for whatever your field laptop is, not a hard drive.
Yeah, I mean, here's a fucking data center hard drive. Like, I'm sorry, sign, but $150 ain't much. Especially not for 14 terabytes for $159. Sure, it's refurbished, which sketchy, but
I'm not touching that. I'm worried about this one thing I found for a 12 terabyte Western Digital Gold. They're selling it for $114, and it normally retails for $250 to $300.
yeah,
And they're claiming
probably
it's
get.
brand new.
Yeah, I don't think so.
They're lying about something here.
Yeah, here's a great example. Just get a fucking NAS. Just get like 3 of these. You know? Just get like 3 of these. And Jesus Christ, Amazon puts so much tracking link bullshit stuff.
Yeah.
Like, get 3 of these. Call it a day. Stripe them. Was that raid 3?
I don't know anything about the raids aside from I don't want to deal with setting my own up at any
Yeah.
point.
Oh, I mean, it's super fucking easy these days when you have a NAS system set up. Just get like 3 of these set up and bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah, well the problem is that there's 3 different versions for setting up raids, and then of course there's the
Oh
fact
no,
that
there's
because
7.
oh, great. I thank you for teaching me something I did not know, Sneaky.
Raid
There's
0 through
7.
6. And then
Oh,
technically, actually, there's also raid 1 plus 3, raid 2 plus 3, and
what's 3 mean?
so
Yeah.
So raid 0 is the striped. It's where basically you slap 2 hard drives together and it just uses the total space between the 2, and it puts half of the data on one hard drive and half of the data on the other one.
I'm aware of how RAID 0 works because that was the one that's like this is the recommended basic bitch one if you don't have any more than 2 hard drives. Like, okay, I understand that. I
It's
just
also
don't
the
like how
most
the discs.
dangerous because
Yeah,
there's no fault tolerance.
yeah, because of
Then
how the
there's
data
RAID
is
1,
split.
which is where you have one hard drive play backup to the other. There's RAID 2, which is error correction with striping. Let's see here. Okay, so then it also uses backup. So interesting. So 32. Okay.
I don't know why Sign is linking other hard drives at us. We're not the ones looking to buy right now.
Bro out here is buying Western Digital. Purple Pro.
I mean, Western Digital used to be like the cream of the crop for internal hard drives. My understanding is that that's kind of become not so true these days,
Yeah, not really, no.
which worries
Why?
me because my
Why on
Western
earth
Digital are
are we
nearing
looking at RAID
10
setups?
years.
Max asked about RAID.
Oh.
RAID 3 is rarely used in practice according to Wikipedia, which, I mean, is true. I haven't really heard of RAID 3 being used too much. Huh.
But, but yeah.
Light, okay. Yeah, then there's RAID 4, striping with parody. RAID 5, distributed parody striping. Font
Yes.
failure.
So yeah, so Sign had a 12 terabyte hard drive off itself just now, which I'm still impressed by because 12 terabyte hard drives are still relatively new to the market for like consumer
Oh,
use.
yeah, here we go. Nested rating. Combination of 2 or more RAID levels, such as 0 plus 1, 0, 1, 0 plus 3, 0, 3, 1 plus 0, 1, 0, which is apparently 0 plus 1 is different than 1 plus 0.
I was just about to ask.
Wait, hold up. What is? Oh my God, why?
Or
Why
alternatively,
can't
the
technology just?
penultimate RAID version, RAID 1 plus 0 plus 0. How does that work? Who the fuck
Wait.
knows?
Oh no, Sneaky, that's RAID 10 plus 0. Why is it jump
Yeah,
straight
but
to
RAID
10?
10 is RAID 1 plus 0.
Oh God, you're right. Or RAID 100. That's what the fuck does that entail?
I
Wait,
don't
that
know!
means that means that they were using a nested RAID in a nest. Nested RAID?
Yes.
Oh,
The more I learn, the less I want to.
the more I learn, the more convinced I am I don't want to get back into tech for my work.
Fair.
Hadn't looked at all of this. This is bullshit.
What's the problem that he found? What is the problem we're supposed to be seeing from this? Also,
Oh,
what the fuck is
it
Ultrastar
it's sold by a reseller, not by Newegg.
from Hong Kong? Yep. Yep. Um. Hmm.
I mean, what it likely is that a large portion of those hard drives might be shut down businesses.
Which is not what I would want to be dealing with.
No.
Yeah.
What is the Ultrastar? I've never heard of their Ultrastar brand. This must be new since the last time I looked at their stuff. Because last time I looked for Western Digital internals was probably 2016. When it was still like your choices were red, blue, green, black, and gold.
Black. Yeah.
Black was what was recommended for
Everyone.
best bang for the buck, because it's
Yeah.
like these other ones are if you're feeling a little cheaper, or
Western
you
Digital
need
Green
something
was
that
if you're
will last
poor or
forever.
stupid. Western Digital Blue was normal. Western Digital Gold was if you had too much money. And Western Digital Black is if you had sense.
No, I think Western Digital Gold was if you're running a business and you need this thing to survive a nuke. Because I'm pretty sure gold actually was, at the time, I think gold was built to be more robust than black.
Yes. Like I said, if you had too much money.
This who knows.
Well, you know, Sneaky, some of us like to go out in the field and throw our laptops around like idiots, okay?
Oh, I'm aware. Oh,
We
I'm
need at least
aware.
13 different cases in order to prevent them from being damaged.
Anyway. Ugh.
What the fuck is the Oscard?
I don't want to know. Drunken
I don't
Marriage of Triple Red Hot Grim by Shadow Jojo.
Nose, this is your
Uh,
community. You're taking responsibility for this.
I take
Yeah.
no responsibility for the JoJo community. It's been invaded by a bunch of people who shouldn't be in the community.
That's what every community says. Not real
Well,
community.
to be fair, that's happened to every community.
well, we're definitely not looking at this one because Lemon is right there in the summary.
Yeah,
So we can safely skip this one.
we can safely skip this one. However, we will read the summary. Drunken
Yeah,
Marriage of the
fine.
Triple Red Hot Grim. John and Pyrrha were enjoying themselves with their friends at a club until they wake up one night with other women, and one of them is a human Grim, and they were actually all married to John now. And then they had lots of sex. John times Pyrrha, Cinder, and Salem. So the shotgun
Salem
wedding
sneak into the
implications of
nightclub.
this is that Salem and Cinder were hitting the gritty on the nightclub, and somehow both of them got dead drunk and decided to get married to the huntsman that showed up.
Yeah. I want to know how Salem snuck into the club looking like she does.
It's cosplay.
It's just cosplay.
Listen, I think there'd be a lot of people who would look at Salem and go, "Oh yes, big goth mom."
It's cosplay. Her semblance did it.
I'm not saying I like the fact that that's a justifiable reality, but
Author's
like
extremely visible fetish. Yeah.
I don't know if I call her big. She's like appetite, but sure.
True. Without any
Should we mark
surprise
that on the
at all.
card, or?
What do you mean mark it on the card? Author's fetish. Yeah, I'll give it to you.
On the board.
Yeah,
Yes.
3K words per chapter, averagey-ish. 21 chapters. We got 161 reviews with 1,100 favorites, which is a really atrophic review rate for that many favorites. They would smash on the night of, then try and get away with the millennia of trauma and baggage Ruza has had. Yeah, true. True. Oh, right. Always love it when I get those emails.
what's the email,
speaking of,
Sneaky?
it was just a report that I got a happiness rating on my latest task closure for the night. For the
one step further away from being fired for nothing.
Exactly. Well, especially because the description of the comment from the happiness report was always really appreciate it when he is assigned to my tasks He's always very knowledgeable and quick to resolve my problems. The person submitting the review is the owner / primary contact for the company.
Yes.
Ah. Can you,
Yeah, that would
Sneaky,
do it.
can you feel that? I want you to bask in that sensation for just a single moment.
Yes.
For a brief, fleeting moment, you get to experience the illusion of job security.
Yes, I know.
Which,
Oh,
I mean, most
another
of us don't
funny
even
thing
get
I
to.
found out recently was that half a year ago, a decision was made. And this decision has far-reaching consequences of a very disappointing nature for quite a many people.
Oh.
So previously, my company used to award $5 per happy rating during a month for Amazon. And some bean counter shit his pants over this. And they decided to change this policy.
Why would we want to keep the most powerful corporation in the universe happy?
No, more like, why would we want to reward our employees for doing a good job?
Yeah.
Yeah, why would you? That never
Why
would
would you
fly.
want your employees to be happy and feel appreciated?
Yeah. They changed this policy. Now, so here's the thing. The reason why I never found out about this until now was that they grandfathered everyone in who was already getting Amazon gift cards into still getting Amazon gift cards. It was just all new employees past that point would instead no longer be getting Amazon gift cards. They would now get, are you ready for this?
A pizza card.
Intra-company dollars.
Oh my
Sure.
god.
Wow,
You
they
got
found
company
something-
script. Aren't you happy?
They found something
Wage
worse
slave?
than the free pizza. I'm astounded.
Yeah. Yeah, you in recognition of your grand achievement of supplying our clients with a good and reliable service, you are hereby given company script.
That is so fucking dystopic. No one
What?
of the higher ups were like, doesn't this seem a little gulagish?
The
What can you
worst
do with the
part
company
is
script?
nothing. You can buy travel mugs, you can buy shirts, you can buy sweatshirts.
You know what they should have done?
What?
One half-minute review equals an extra half-hour PTO. Just make it
Oh no,
full time.
no, Max. They
That would be
might
too
get time
much.
off then.
Yeah, no, Max, like that. So just to give you an idea of how many happiness reviews I get per month, if they did it that way, I would get roughly 10 days of the month off.
Nikki, I'm trying to help you. Why would you deny this suggestion?
Because I don't think you understand how destructive that would be to me being able to laze around on my job.
No, I do. I fully understand.
Fucking bean
You're the only
counters.
one that would make a dent in it is the point.
That's fair. You know what? Actually, you're right.
This would destroy the company. No, it wouldn't. Everyone either needs to nut up or shut up. I'm sorry, if your branch's performance hinges on no more than 3 people, there's a fucking problem.
Oh,
If it was a shop run by 3 people, that would make sense. It's not a shop run by 3 people. It's an IT branch with at least 40 to 50 employees, I'm assuming at minimum in that one building.
On our team we have 25. In total for the company we have 400.
Yeah. So, like your one team, if that performance is really hinging on no more than 3 people, which it seems to be,
It does, yeah.
there's a fucking problem.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always a really great day because what I do is I don't turn the alerts off on my phone whenever I take a day off, and I just I just get a really grand chuckle
Oh my God,
out of it because
laughing at
my
your work is
phone.
part of your day off. What the fuck?
What?
No, part of your enjoyment on your day off is watching everyone flail around. That's kind of fucked up.
But it is funny.
It's
Oh, it
fucked up.
is,
Yeah.
but it's dude.
Ah! Can anyone
I
get
don't
the
think
call? Can anyone
I
get the
don't.
call? Can anyone get the call? Can anyone get the call? Can anyone get the call? Guys, we have too many tasks overloading the queue. No, like the best part is that I have nothing to do with why everything's on fire. Like it would be one thing if it's like, I took a day off on, we knew this thing was coming up, and I took a day off when it happened, and it'd be like, okay, that's kind of dickish, one thing. But like, no, this is just normal, average Wednesday traffic. That if I am not there, everything just burns down.
Many such cases. I am unfortunately well aware of this fact.
Didn't you like
For
take
my
a
place.
vacation one time and just, the entire thing just started to implode while you were gone?
It was the funniest fucking shit ever.
You were allowed to take a vacation when you were like one of the few people doing something? Damn, that's crazy.
See, at my company, you're pre-approved for time off. If you put in for time off, you're pre-approved. Now, now there is stipulations of we are going to come back and hammer you in the dick if you do this like often, of like taking like 5 days off with zero notice. Because if they know you're taking 5 days off, then they can plan around that and get like people moved around and some volunteers moved onto your team to replace you, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. As long as they're, offering that same courtesy to you down the line for, like, maybe we're not a good match anymore.
Yeah. But yeah, no. So generally, I can just say, yeah, I don't feel like coming in today, and they just say, okay. If it's less than 3 days, I don't have to give them any notice. So yeah,
That's
I'll
nice. My boss is pretty chill. Like, for like, if I just go, I don't want to come in. That's not really. But like, if it's like I'm sick, my boss is pretty chill.
My boss is a bitch.
Yeah, we know. If I haven't radicalized everyone in this chat on my opinion of bean counters yet, then I'll try harder.
I'm
I'm
I
gonna
feel
be
like
honest
I
with you,
kind of
Chief.
I
I'm
feel
pretty
like
sure you're preaching to the converted.
one, you're preaching to a bank boy here too. Like, I think we've all contributed pretty heavily to making sure that opinion gets spread.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like someone who grew up with warnings from one of my father about bean counters. Yeah.
And I just want to be clear for anybody out there. There's a massive difference between accounting staff and bean counters. There's plenty of people in my accounting department that I deal with on a regular basis who are perfectly kind, normal human beings.
Yeah, I won't call them a bean counter then, because
Yeah,
they're not.
I exclusively reserve the term bean counters for the delusional people that think the world is made of numbers and people are easily replaceable cogs with absolutely no attachment to the system at all. That's why I call them bean counters. Derogatory. And now another Discord is talking about how my body's health is so poor that I would possibly be the worst isekai.
Hmm?
Them isekaiing as me somewhere in my body. My health.
I see.
Who's discussing this?
Another Discord.
Why? Like, what even prompted
What brought that
this?
on? Aura posted a say racist things and everyone calls you a racist, yet not one calls you a liar. And I responded to that with be me. And then that apparently spurred the discussion about how I would be a terrible isekai insert.
Mm,
I mean, assuming you live past the first week, you're either gonna somehow achieve world peace or complete and utter world domination. Or
That
some
was actually the
combination
joke.
thereof.
yep.
Back in the day, we joked about writing a mass isekai book for the SDM. And
Oh, I'm sure that would have gone splendidly.
yeah, well, I mean, the joke was that Gray would end up as the weapon of destruction. That's always like
Hard as
subverting
fuck.
tropes. Like, you know, you're in the medieval fantasy world and you find the legendary weapon of destruction that the big bad's gonna use to destroy the world, and it's like a fucking nanomachine Grey Goo swarm or some shit. And it's just kind of like, well, that really subverted my expectations.
You walk into a random cave of supposedly the greatest weapon ever made, and there's just Gray there who's just like a full tech priest.
Yes.
I mean, I support Gray becoming a tech priest because that frees him from his shitty body.
I mean, yes, that's why I said that.
And then the other joke was that I would be ending up as the Demon Lord accidentally.
Accidentally, he says, knowing full well he will do it purposefully.
Yes.
My lord, demon lord, how do we end this kingdom? I throw explosives at it. I don't know.
You know, just death bomb. The choices we make by the dark betrayer. Doing what is right isn't always easy. Pyrrha found that out the hard way. When John revealed he forged his transcripts, she had no choice but to tell Ozpin. Little did she know, this one act would not only affect his life, but hers as well.
Choices
Okay.
we make. Why does that sound familiar?
The games we play.
That or we read through the summary on stream years ago, because this was published in 2021. On April
True.
Fool's, no less.
Well, it certainly was a joke.
Oh! Apparently today is a core all-around update day. How about that?
Indeed. Every day is a Core All-Around update day, Max. 44 chapters, about 10k words per chapter, so fairly impressive all things considered. 1,700 reviews, which is very impressive, and a reasonable 3,000 favorites. So you can certainly see where the reviews came from. So this is a pretty healthy reviews to favorites mix, which usually means that people aren't just gooning to it. People don't typically review things, they just goon. So, oh, hey, guys! This is my first Ruby fanfic.
Oh god.
Oh,
So there we
do I
go.
have that in my card?
We haven't seen that in forever.
Yeah. Let's
Don't
see
have
here.
it the first time in
Yay!
stream since we did this, and I don't have it.
First fanfic. All right. Okay. I came up with this story because of all of the John arc getting expelled stories where everyone suddenly treats him like trash.
Oh,
I found
yeah,
those sorts of stories really out of character.
I don't know about that one.
yes, I think we did cover this years ago on stream. 'Cause I feel like we had
Maybe.
a short conversation about how, like, the betrayed John was a little ridiculous considering the character writing, because betrayed fics are almost universally just awful character
Oh yeah,
writing.
no, 100%. Like I won't disagree that the betrayed John fics are like really out there usually. But
I
at the
mean,
same time though,
betrayed
I'm
fics in general.
yes. But I'm not, but at the same time, this is like the one scenario where I can absolutely see Yang, Weiss,
I think mostly
honestly,
just
even
picking
Pyrrha.
sides.
Ren and Nora are kind of really on the fence about how they would react to learning the information, I feel. But like, I would say a decent number of the main cast would be actually like pissed off with John.
Yeah.
Like, they wouldn't be like, I'm gonna fucking call
Um,
you slurs and kick the shit out of you. But they would definitely be
uh,
like, yo, what the
no,
fuck, John?
no, that would depend heavily on when the exposition happens. Because he
Um,
admits to Pierre pretty early on, and
yeah, I would
it's
say around that point.
implied it's
Because the rest of the
implied
kid.
that he had to talk with the talk would have happened with the rest of the team too. Because
Yeah,
uh,
that's what I'm saying
Tree,
is that around that point in time, and no one else on the team ever found out. No one ever found out besides Vera, canonically.
uh, we one. Remember they skipped a
Didn't Ren
whole
give
year.
John shit about his transcripts back in like V8 or something when he blew up?
You know what? He might have.
Because
That
I
might
remember he made a comment
part
and
of.
specifically looked at John. Because there was a scene of John being kind of hurt, I think, by his words.
It would have been the blow up at Yang.
No, John was there. He showed up at the end.
No, it was
No,
a
no, no.
genres.
It would have been during the blow up at Yang, and then John caught some friendly fire because he was trying to calm things down.
Oh no, yeah, he did. My issues with Ren yelling at John for cheating his way into Beacon.
Oh yeah. Okay. I mean, I, the only issue that should have happened here was it happening so late into Volume 8, but otherwise,
Yeah. No, I mostly agree with this guy's commentary about why it was stupid.
it's the sort of thing that happens early, especially with Ren being the way he is. This isn't I'm going to throw this in your face now, a year and a half after the fact. That's yeah, so I sat and chewed him out for 2 hours the same night he told Pyrrha about it. Because
Yeah, so like I said, so clearly Ren isn't pleased with John having cheated his way into Beacon. So yeah,
probably not.
I would honestly say the only reason why it didn't escalate to the point where he would be betrayed, i.e., turned in for committing what is likely in the Rubyverse a capital crime. Just like, I'm pretty sure it actually was legit that, like, that serious, because, like, Team Ruby actually got shit. Like, they tried to be huntsmen for a train or something, and they actually got shit because they didn't have a huntsman license yet. And Crow was like, no, it's cool. I got us a seat because I have my huntsman license.
That could just be the difference between the level of trust that goes into professionals versus professionals in training. I don't remember that because that was a while ago, and I don't think there's much of Ruby worth rewatching past Volume 3 and before Volume
Well, you see, Max,
9.
in a vacuum.
Again, I'm still gonna hold that. Either you watch 1 to 3 and that's it, the bad guys win, or you watch Volume 9 and asks no questions. Wait. Oh wait, this is the first pure Ruby fic. Wait, did all they do were crossovers?
Yeah, I guess. But anyway, point being is I feel like if Yang, because Yang was kind of serious about the whole Huntsman thing. Weiss especially. Holy shit, if
Okay,
Weiss ever found out.
so I can break down who I think would absolutely be pissed off at him. Yang, Weiss. Blake might, assuming it isn't tempered with the fact that she's also lying through her teeth for
No,
much of
Osmond knows.
Volume 1 and 2.
No, well, see,
No, I
the
meant
difference though
team.
is Blake is lying to her team, not lying to Beacon.
I would say Blake is
Um,
nominally speaking qualified to be a huntsman.
yes, I know.
If you
I'm
treat
aware.
it, sorry.
The problem is there's heavy implication during a short exchange between Glinda and Ozpin of like, are you sure he should be here? Because this doesn't match up. And Ozpin saying it's fine. Like, someone on the writing team planted that seed early, and then it was never visited again for some reason.
So there is a difference though there, right?
Some reason.
Because Ozpin confronted Blake about being Blake. So she knows, they know, she knows. That whole back and forth. John thinks that his forged transcripts worked to get him in. When it's implied that Ozpin and Glinda kind of knew something was up with them, but Ozpin waved him in anyway. And I think that's the difference.
I'm not talking about getting into Beacon. I'm talking about hiding the violent terrorist past, which is nominally almost as bad as lying on a transcript. Because at the time, he's not gonna get them killed in first year. That's actually really unlikely from what they show us of how the first semester goes, at least.
Yeah.
But either what, like Blake, I'd be on the fence because sometimes they write her as being aware of how she is, and other times they just blow past that.
Just kind of zoom past that and don't really talk about it.
Ruby would be disappointed. I don't think she'd be angry. I think she'd be disappointed. Pure would probably be, if this is.
I think, no, you know what I think it is? I think Ruby would actually be disappointed, like, really disappointed.
Jesus.
Disappointed and maybe hurt. That
I'm
her
sorry,
one
Phoenix's
friend.
suggestion
That's pretty
for
funny.
how he gets exposed.
Language
That's not
composition
bad.
teacher. That's pretty funny. I think Ruby would actually be disappointed. Not because he forged his transcripts. Because I think she would be absolutely on board with the not everyone needs to go to school and then graduate from a recognized Huntsman prep school to go to Beacon. I think she'd be fully on board with that. I think what Ruby would be disappointed about is the fact that he has no skill and never tried.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where the disappointment's gonna also stem from the fact that, like, she absolutely has a hero worship complex towards huntsmen and huntresses. It's like, I thought we shared the same dream, but you did nothing to prep for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pure is a toss-up, because if this happens during the Cardin bullying arc, I would say she'd be like, I wish you'd come to me sooner. And I'm sorry it ended this way. I don't think she'd be quite as mad. I think she'd also just be disappointed. Same vein as Ruby.
Well, no, she does find out, Max. That's literally what starts the Cardin bullying arc.
No. No, he admits to her. I'm talking like if this happens during the Cardin bullying arc before the discussion on the rooftop.
Oh, right, right.
Because that's like halfway through that arc.
Right, but the bullying was only really happening because Cardin knew he could get away with it with John.
No, the bullying was happening before that, and then Cardin got his hands on the forged transcripts and doubled down on it.
Right.
And everyone's like, okay, he's picking the pace up. What the fuck is going on?
But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, if she like finds out earlier, yeah, I mean,
If it's during that time,
it's
I
like
think
also
she
like
won't
an
get
insult to Ren
leeway.
and Nora. Like that's why I think Ren and Nora. I don't know about Nora. I think Nora would just follow along with Ren, but I can definitely
Ren,
understand why Ren was fucking pissed because like
Ren
they were
definitely
orphans.
got faster.
They clearly had to put some major effort in to get in. I don't think we ever got told whether they got through on the combat trial or whatever the fuck that was, however Blake got in.
Yeah,
I, I,
they probably got in through that. Would be the best bet, because
they obviously didn't have schooling because they didn't even have a fucking home.
yeah,
So I can totally see Ren being absolutely pissed about John getting in on fake transcripts when it's like, I was literally an orphan. I didn't have a home before this, and you cheated your way in, which might have actually stopped another orphan from getting in.
Well, not just that, but also their home village was destroyed, right? You could be out there as a huntsman, someone could be depending on you, and their entire village could be destroyed because you're not who you say you.
Yeah.
that.
I could see that angle. I
I
can't see that being the main angle
I
used.
I
Not
can't
the
see
main
Ren
angle,
going
but
that.
certainly something part of it.
I don't think so, because 4 years. If he gets through 4 years of the final Huntsman Academy stuff, he'll still be ready.
I mean, that is
Like,
true.
if he
However,
comes in with no skills and lasts for 4 years somehow, he's still better than the average person. It's unlikely that will get someone killed by that point either.
I mean, it's likely it's going to get him killed.
If Ren was going to be mad about anyone getting hurt because of this, it would be for Nora's sake, not someone
You're
else
putting the team in danger.
6 years down the
Yeah,
line.
that's fair.
Yeah.
That would be Ren's main angle. Nora, I'm not sure on, because she's chaotic neutral enough. I think she'd flip a coin, decide if she would punch him or just wave goodbye, to be honest.
Honestly, I can just see Nora settling it by like walking up to him, looking at him, punching him really hard in the liver, and then walking away and never bringing up the issue again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
You lied to me. Liver punch.
And then, of course, 2 for flinching.
I mean, the liver punch is kind of guaranteed to make you flinch, but sure.
That's why she went for it.
True. Actually, you know
Say,
what?
that's why.
Fair.
That's why. Like,
Um,
why do you think I brought it up?
The girl who screams about breaking legs
and
makes him flinch just so she
they-
can hit him again.
and they need to do a little more cooking with Jean. Like, the only thing that he might have done was basic bodybuilding, and not much else.
No, because he was exhausted.
Wasn't the only bodybuilding he did at Pyrrha's prompting?
Yeah.
Where exhausted when?
Wasn't he like fucking worn out from just going through the forest with her?
No. Not that I. Well,
No, I think he showed a pretty.
No, he was, and then she unlocked his aura,
Yeah, so he was
implying that
literally
the
using
auras
soul boost to
yeah,
bypass the whole
well, yeah,
fatigue
Snake.
issue.
The implication being that like huntsmen and huntresses probably don't get fatigued because of the aura thing.
Yeah.
He probably, like I said, he's probably slightly above average because he had a good body build. Like his build wasn't bad from what we
Okay,
saw.
but what it likely
Body
was, I mean, okay, so I mean,
I mean, it depends on what kind of frontier town he grew up in, probably.
yeah, I was gonna say we're gonna basically have to rely on a little bit of fanon for this. He's on a frontier town. Frontier towns really only exist for one reason, and that's farms. Farms and mining.
Yeah.
He likely wasn't being sent to the mines,
Okay,
which means he was
I didn't
likely
hear
doing
any.
farmhand shit.
I need you to go back. I got Comcasted for a moment.
Oh, I was saying
Management cases.
frontier towns in Ruby effectively exist for two reasons: farming and mining. And he likely wasn't being
Okay.
sent to the mines, which means he was probably a farmhand.
Okay, I'm glad. Good. That means we were sharing the brain cell for that then, because I was starting to say
Yeah.
if he was a frontier boy, he probably had to help out with the farm and shit,
Yeah.
and
So
that'll put some muscle on you.
yeah, I mean, that'll keep you relatively fit, especially if you're stuck eating a heavy meat diet because you're a frontier town. So basically, your two sources of food are whatever
What you
carbs
grew
you
that
guys
morning and what
farmed,
you killed
and
that afternoon.
yeah. It'd be funny if Weiss starts treating John better once she finds out he forged his documents. You have to explain the logic behind that one.
What? Yeah, you're gonna have to explain that one.
Yeah.
But no, I can absolutely see Weiss going full scorched earth on John at that point. Like, if it gets revealed the same time period that the Pura learns, whether John admits it to her or she finds out from a third party, I can absolutely see Weiss going fucking scorched earth on him.
Yeah, she wasn't really warming up on him until like start of volume 3.
She didn't really warm up on him until he grew a beard.
Yeah.
I guess we know her type.
And Ed was 12 years older, give or
Yeah.
take.
She didn't really warm up to him until she could call him daddy.
And good night, everybody.
Oh no, you don't. You're not allowed to leave.
I don't know, man. That serial
He
could
knew
have just
about Pyrrha's
been.
cereal, so wouldn't that imply he's closer to the main cities, or would it still be a frontier town? No, it would still be a frontier town.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I wasn't
Do
sure.
you think that rural towns in the middle of bumfuck nowhere in America don't get Wheaties? Because that's what it was. She was on the Wheaties box.
Well, no, she was on the Captain Crunch box.
Okay. Yes. But functionally speaking, she was on the Wheaties box. Like, everyone knew who it was. Everyone who bought stuff would see that.
Yeah, but to answer
uh,
Aura's question more seriously, effectively, you're already sending a. So this is very, very typical in logistics. If you're already sending a truck there to pick up food, it just makes sense to send a truck there with shit already in it, like products, to then offload at that location, to then unload the raw food you're moving out.
Fair enough. I
That
just kind of
just makes
figured it.
Well,
logistic
especially
sense
because,
to
and
do.
here's the thing, it likely would be independent contractors and or merchants. Because you think we saw that there are traveling merchants, so like it would be someone who right. The government of Vale, for instance, issues a contract to go to farming village X, pick up whatever food they have, bring it back, and we'll pay you X dollars per pound or whatever. And so when they go out there, well, they already have to take the truck. So I might as well take, well, what's a frontier town going to need? They're always going to need nails and rope and hammers and dust. So I'm going to take dust and nails and rope and hammer. And I'm going to take some quote unquote luxury items like breakfast cereal.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
'Cause
it's
something
not just
like-
luxury items, but non-perishables like breakfast cereal.
Well, yes, right. You're right. I should have been more specific. Non-perishable luxury goods. So, like Sneaky said, breakfast cereal or canned soup, right? Sure, SpaghettiOs may not be a luxury to you because you live in the US and you can go down to the corner store and get a thing of SpaghettiOs, but when you live in the middle of the Appalachian Mountains, well, shit, man, I haven't had SpaghettiOs in 15 fucking years.
Well, it's
Yeah,
not
that
just
point
that.
out
It's also the
that's it.
fact that a canned food doesn't spoil easily, and it's factory canned, which means a certain level of removal of complications to the canning process. And
Yeah, there's a certain level of cleanliness. There's a certain level of keeping.
guarantee. Yeah. So, like a great example actually is Costco. So I bought some milk from Costco, and Kirkland milk specifically is sealed when it is bottled in the gallon carton. And this is important because your typical milk is sealed with a cap, which obviously has air gap in it. And it does a great job, a very minimal amount of air seeping into the milk over time. But that's what also causes the spoilage. Is what Kirkland does with their milk carton is that it leaves very little room for air to exist inside the milk carton, and then when they seal it with a plastic seal, it prevents any more air from entering the milk carton, which means the air rapidly gets used up by whatever bacteria even remotely exists inside the carton, but also it makes sure that no new bacteria are introduced to the carton until it's officially opened up. Now, why is all this important? This is all important because I forgot to put the milk away
Oh no.
10
for
out of
8
10.
hours.
Oh my god.
God damn it, Sneaky.
You are a interesting person.
And that was on Friday. Friday, the milk came in at 1 o'clock, and I put it on the ground next to the door and unloaded everything else. And then at the end of the podcast on Friday, when I went to go to bed at 11, 10 hours, even worse. I said, oh shit, looking at the milk on the ground still. And then I immediately put it in the fridge, let it cool overnight, and then I opened it up in the next morning. And of course, I obviously tested the milk. It's fine. And the reason why it's fine, as opposed to normal milk, is that A, I don't keep my room very hot, but B, it was sealed. There was no new air entering in, which means bacteria couldn't grow because there was no oxygen to grow with. Which means that the bacteria growth was strictly to whatever was inside the milk, which was very clean because it was done in a factory and canned in the factory under very, very strict conditions. Because, if one carton of milk goes bad because of one bad process, then that's going to contain every carton after that, which is massive loss of profit. Of course, they don't like happening, so very strict conditions. So yeah, anyway, milk was perfectly fine. Very nice and drinkable. And all because it was sealed in a factory condition that was guaranteeing a level of freshness that is not attainable outside of said factory condition. But yeah. So, if you ever think I don't forget things, just remember, I sure as fuck do.
I'm not sure if that's a threat or not.
It may as well be.
I was gonna say it fucking feels like it.
I wanted to do something where he gets exposed, not because of Cardin, but he gets exposed because Pyrrha does it because it's the right thing to do. Sure. So we're gonna scroll through this. Obviously, we're not gonna read all 10K words. That's insane. Let's see what we got here. We got some. We start off with some inner monologuing. A hood classic. I wasn't
Many
really
such cases.
accepted into Beacon. Even now, the words rang through her mind. I didn't go to combat school. I didn't pass any tests. I didn't earn this spot. In retrospect, it made sense. I lied. She stated so plainly she had to accept it. Liar. Pyrrha's, really thinking it over. Pyrrha's basically bringing up all the points we're bringing up in that John doing this put her team in danger, people he was supposed to help in danger. Because do keep in mind, they do go on missions by year 2. I think they even go on missions in year 1. Do they go on missions in year 1, or is that year 2? Was Mount Glen year 2 or year 1?
That was year 1. First years had to stick to a certain rank
Milk
of
run.
mission, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Still, point
But
being,
yeah.
though,
Austin
is
did his bullshit mystical. I'm gonna let you go on this, even though I know I shouldn't thing.
yeah. But still, point being, though, is that means that John, with a teacher there, of course, but John, with no combat skill, could have led his team on a mission that went as foobar as Mount Glen did, and would have gotten them all killed.
Yeah.
Yep. 'Cause I think that was volume 2. And the
Yes,
second semester is when they started doing missions, I think.
Because, like, imagine if it had been John's team that went to Mount Glen.
And
John would
assuming
have
that
immediately
the
failed
card and
combat.
stuff, assuming the card and stuff didn't happen, and Pierre didn't start giving him one-on-one combat training.
Well,
Yeah,
it doesn't even
I
matter if
could
he
see it getting his.
Well,
No,
it doesn't
I
even
think it
matter.
does. No, it does because of the way they wrote Ruby. It does in this case because he started theoretically doing better in combat classes. Granted, I still wish
Yes,
they would have done something with Ozpin's bullshit with that, and they did nothing.
but started doing better in combat classes is a very obscure reference. But also
Oh,
at the
no,
same time, like him doing better in
I
combat
mean,
classes might have
I
just been he didn't
I
lose
think
as hard.
sure, but there's another thing that's being ignored here, which is it only went foobar for Team Ruby because they were going out of their way to look for something, and Zwei acted as the Deus Ex
True.
Machina to find it.
You're right.
Odds are they would have been in and out. Probably. Unless Oobleck did something stupid. Or Nora did something stupid.
Or John decides he wants to walk around and see Mount Glen and do it. Because he's fucking.
Because he's a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone in Ruby holds the stupid ball, sadly.
True. Well, except Ren and Nora.
No.
I'm
Nora
gonna hit the X on
gleefully
that one.
grabbed that.
I'm gonna
Nora
hit the fucking
gleefully
X
grabs
out.
that when she gets a chance.
Uh
Snaky. Nora gleefully will grab that stupid ball because it looks fun. Don't
Okay,
pretend
but
otherwise.
that's okay, but the stupid ball is the appellation of the stupid ball isn't this character is going to be chaotic neutral. It's this character is going to be alignment stupid for the sole purpose of making X event happen. For example, what's a good example here? Ironwood.
Oh boy, are we gonna talk? Are we gonna bring up the amount of stupidity that they used when writing him for Volume 7?
Just in general. Um, he makes really weird choices like, oh, hey, Ozpin, I know that my nation invaded your nation, but I'm going to give you no warning when I show up with multiple battleships of troops. Like, what the fuck?
I am pretty. I'm 90% certain that was actually addressed when Ozpin was like, I didn't expect you to bring the entire fleet. He said, I didn't tell you because you'd have tried to talk me out of it or something like that.
Yes, no, that was literally addressed, yes. But my point is that's incredibly stupid. A general, you would think, in character, a general would be smart enough to be like, yes, maybe I shouldn't bring an entire armed and staffed fleet directly into the country we just got out of a war of invading. Yes. It's really hard for me to think of examples of the stupid ball being held in Ruby, because unfortunately, for example, like Nora, being silly and stupid is kind of her core character. It's not out of character for her to do something that we would consider stupid because it looked like fun. That's kind of her thing. So it's not holding the stupid ball because that is her character. Ruby wanting to go explore a ruined city is in character for a teenager who was isolated and never left patch before, with a overinflated sense of their combat capabilities, who also, again, in a true teenager fashion, brought their dog with them on a mission without telling anyone. I still can't believe they delivered that dog in a fucking tube.
Well, they did. That dog was built different. A reminder. The dog had a team-up attack with Oobleck.
Yep.
That was
Fucking
great.
set the dog on fire.
And that
I
Corgi
cast
was
dog
loving
missile.
every second of it.
Honestly, I think that may have been the greatest stupid thing they ever did, was giving the dog a team up attack with Oobleck.
I think
Just
I think
Oobleck
just the
just looking
casual
at you,
reveal that
and you're just like ready to fight him, and he's just like, "Hey, shit ass, catch!"
Oh wow, that's a massive fucking change. Why the fuck is Roshan throwing people in the river? What the fuck did they do to my game?
Game's fucked, boys.
Okay.
Huh?
Dota 2 update just dropped.
Oh
And
no.
they did some crazy fucking shit. Anyway,
Holy
Did they
shit,
make
this is
Roshan the
fucking
Baron?
This is fucking 20 pages long.
fucking Rip
Oh, no.
Purge.
Get your safer and
Ripper.
faster fortune.
Continuing the stream before.
Neutrals? What?
Yeah.
the
Anyway, yeah, so it's
What
like Yang
the fuck?
being over aggressive and stupid. Like I would say maybe the idiot ball for Yang might have been gripping some dude's nuts because he wouldn't answer a question for free when his job is being an information broker. I would say maybe that might have been a stupid ball, but the problem is that Yang is constantly depicted as having an overinflated sense of her combat capabilities. Sometimes justified, but still an overinflated sense of her combat capabilities. And so she felt that she just had so much power in that situation that she didn't need to, you know, do the expected thing of paying someone to demand it.
Sorry.
Blake is just the flakiest thing in existence, and her entire character archetype is always runs away and makes everything worse. So I can't really say that she's ever held the stupid ball because once again, she's just retarded. You can't even say Pyrrha held the stupid ball when she went to go fight Cinder alone, because she had this whole do-goody hero character archetype to her, and of course, you know, her name is Pyrrhic Victory. So like her entire character was going to always end up that way in that sense. So again, it's like, can you really say it's out of character for her to take on a threat that she thinks she can beat alone to prevent any of her teammates who she thinks aren't strong enough to fight said person getting hurt fighting said person when she thinks that she can handle it on her own? When she has a long history of handling fights on her own, being a star gladiator who's never lost a fight. It's like, okay, no, I can't really say she's being stupid here. Yes, in hindsight, she's being stupid. Yes, with meta knowledge, she's being stupid. But as an in-character decision, it makes sense.
Okay, well, unfortunately, I have to go help with some IT work now, despite my best to get away from it. However, the problem is her decision is still stupid, even in the moment with her background. If we're talking about when she went to go fight Cinder, because this bitch beat Ozpin.
Does
And
she
there's
know
the
that?
implication. It's the only way that she would have gotten out of the vault. And headmasters are implied to be absurdly strong, at least up to this point.
Okay, that, you know what? That's a fair point.
The only meta knowledge that would apply here is that she doesn't know Ozpin's full capabilities, and if he's just a really good politician, which supposedly he is. But it's kind of like Code Geass, where it's not that he's the smartest in the room, it's that everyone else is just dumber than him.
True. That's true. I mean, I think I could forgive the high adrenaline scenario of your entire campus is under attack from the Immortal Death Army. And you being like, oh, I gotta fight this terrorist. My team isn't strong enough to fight them, but I think with my recent power-up that Ozpin is really hyping up, I can. You know, I kind of see it. But I don't think it's stupid enough to declare idiot ball. But it is dumb. But anyway. Let's see, Pyrrha's going through some thinking. She's thinking about thinking. John's doing some stuff. John, why? I can't ruin his dreams like this. Oh, because she really loves John. So that's why... That's why this choice is so hard. She loves John, but at the same time, it's the right thing to do to report him. Okay, blah, blah, blah. If I try to push him to train with me, he'll just push me away. I really only have one choice. So basically, she's just straight up saying all the things that we said. It does that John is a stubborn, stupid piece of shit who, even when Pyrrha tried to initially help him, he refused her help because he was a stubborn, stupid piece of shit who only realized he might need to learn how to swing a sword after he lied his way into Beacon. Not before, of course. Not, you know, any point in time until he actually needed to use the sword. He was like, oh, shit. I just realized I need to know how to use a sword. I'm so glad I'm having this revelation as I need to use the sword. Is Betrayed John angst? No, no. Betrayed John isn't angst because it's not labeled as angst. Yeah, so anyway, report to him. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, they're playing some video games. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Afternoon. Can you come to my office, discuss something? John's like, oh my god, Pyrrha totally reported me. Cardin decides he's going to announce. Alright, so generally the grammar on this story is perfectly fine. Honestly, really impressive. I mean, of course, it isn't their first story, but it's still impressive enough. So they're having dialogue conversations. The dialogue's pretty on the level. They're managing to inject the character personality into the various dialogues. So, you know, they did a good job on that. He knows, blah, blah, blah. Pyrrha, she sold me out. Which part? All of it. Excuse me. All of it. Everything. Okay, my father wouldn't train me. The only training I ever received was what I can learn on my own or from passing huntsmen who stopped by. Again, so this is another major divergence that I feel too many apologists try to inject into their stories. I'm totally fine with John coming to Beacon with more training, but it's kind of like that whole knockdown effect of if John actually trained on his own, he would know how to use a sword. He didn't. If John actually got training from passing huntsmen, he would know what aura was. He didn't. If John did anything to work towards the goal of becoming a huntsman, he wouldn't have done the things that he did in canon. So changing that is changing canon, which then changes the nature of John's incompetence when it comes to also having fake transcripts. Because, like I said, there is a certain level of effort value that seems to take place in canon, and where it doesn't so much matter if you go to Oxford or you went to prep school, but if you have the skills and the training and generally the competence to show, most people generally haven't cared how you got those skills, as we've seen in Ruby Canon, as far as we were able to. It was just, oh, you have the skills? Fantastic. And that's kind of where it ended. Whether that's a fault of Ruby Canon or a product of a actually decent lore, I don't know. But it is actually decent lore of generally in a world where it's an apocalypse world where you're fighting an infinite death army. Someone showing up saying, look, I don't have the schooling, I don't have the certificates, but I'm able to kill 30 Beowulfs without getting a scratch on me, you generally respond to that information with, fan-fucking-tastic.
You're hired.
Now, obviously, typically, you kind of do want some background checks on the guy to make sure they're not just bullshitting out their ass about it, which is where the Huntsman certification comes in the first place. But you can generally also just look at a person of, are they fit? Is their clothes practical enough or flashy enough? Do they look like they know how to use the weapon they're holding? And if those generally check off, you can be like, okay, maybe they're exaggerating about 30, but they might be able to kill 10 without getting a scratch on them. And honestly, at the end of the day, they can get as many scratches as needed. We're not going to fight that many Beowulfs. I just need protection from a couple. How'd you get those combat skills? Don't worry about it. It was war crimes. True. But yeah, it's like generally, even if you showed up to like Beacon with fake transcripts saying you're totally legit, bro, believe me. But then you showed like B-level competence with sword, B-level competence with grades. Generally, I can totally see Osmond being like, if this is what they're coming in with fake transcripts, and if they continue to show effort, I think they'll be perfectly fine huntsmen at the end of the 4 years. I can totally see that. But the problem here is that John, in this story, didn't know what aura was. But then you retconned his past to him getting training from huntsmen. And you're really telling me not a single huntsman ever brought up aura?
No, of course not.
Like, no huntsman, when he was like, hey, can you show me some tricks? And no huntsman was ever like, all right, yeah, sure, kid. What's your semblance? Maybe I can offer you some better advice. No huntsman ever said that. Sure. Like, this is what I taught. This is why I'm always irritated at the John apologism stories, because they always try and make it that like John was more prepared to come to Beacon than he was in canon. But then the exact same shit in canon happens, where he didn't have aura, he doesn't know how to swing a sword, he kind of just flails about and gives some orders in canon, and he does the exact same thing in the fan fiction, but he's totally got more training this time.
Hello?
It's just so many times.
I think he just died. Did he die? Is Sneaky dead?
He has caught whatever I've caught, and he has perished.
Oh no.
I'm not hearing anything on stream either.
I think he just straight up. I'm pretty sure he probably got a call from somebody.
Okay, well, okay, I can hear us.
Strange.
Da, 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 da. He's still scrolling, so I think he thinks.
Let me bring up the stream.
I am attempting to get a hold audience. I am attempting to get a hold of him to solve these technical difficulties.
The schools have failed and were rejected. That's what he's basically going for.
Huh?
Can he like not hear us or something?
No.
What the fuck?
Also, we can't hear him. He's not audible on stream. You
Yeah, I
and
know.
me and everybody else is audible.
I was just testing. Because I hadn't actually turned the stream audio up. I don't like hearing myself twice.
Well, I mean, nobody wants to hear themselves twice. That's a great way to screw up everything. Ah, yes, there you go.
Maybe he'll see that. Because apparently he can't hear us, so something's got to be fucked with
Okay, so hold
Now
on.
we can hear you.
I think I
What
know what
happened?
happened, and it's all your fault.
Okay.
How is it our
What have
fault?
what have I missed trying to explain bookmarks to my 60-something-year-old father?
Okay,
You
yeah,
missed-
no, it absolutely is your fault. So my
What happened?
headset turns off if I don't have any sound playing, which means you guys didn't talk for a long enough period of time that my headset thought I wasn't doing anything and turned off.
I had to shit.
Okay, well, I had to deal with IT downstairs, unfortunately. So what's the rest of y'all's excuses? That and I are covered.
I was taking a piss.
Oh, yeah, sure.
For
Really,
10 minutes.
really.
For 10
How-
minutes.
No, I
Nose-
was taking
A
a piss.
10-minute
and I was
piss.
listening.
Nose, perhaps you need to go see your gynecologist.
I went
Yeah,
to take a
man,
piss, and then I
maybe.
came back and then I didn't fucking say anything. Relax.
Yeah.
Listening to him.
I didn't realize we were that quiet long enough that your headset shut down. I thought it
I'm
was
also
like
reading
just a
patch notes.
moment.
Yeah, it's like 10 minutes. Yeah. So anyway, what point in time did I cut out?
I don't know.
I just got back, man. For all I know,
It
you
was,
cut out the moment I walked away 10 minutes ago.
No, it was a little bit
You were
above.
talking about
It was a little
John.
bit above. Please have a seat, Mr. Ark.
Oh, okay. Please have a seat, Mr. R. Okay, yeah. So, that
Oh, we
okay.
actually
That's
read
not
into
too
chapter?
long, actually. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it just took us a second to figure out the best way to get a hold of it, because like I tried in the chat, I tried in Discord, and Notes was like, "Wait a minute, I have a sub."
What? Anyway.
You used a subscription to get a message to you.
Oh no, I didn't see it because I don't see
Oh
it
my
because
God.
I'm in my restream chat, not my Twitch chat.
Okay,
Oh.
so you cut off just as you were talking about how canon was being retreaded, despite the new retroactive changes. That's
Right.
Well,
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, basically, yeah. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just John Apologia. I am tired of it.
Yes.
So Ozpin goes on to be like, transcripts don't matter because now that you've made it into the school, you've proven you can be here. Somehow. And he's like, oh, well, mistakes were made, but you got in anyway, so that means you can stay in. Which, I mean, okay, yeah, I kind of get it. Like, I get it, generally, you have your transcripts, which is a filter to get people into the initiation, which is your next filter. It's like, okay, cool, fine. I still probably would kick John out because of just how much of a danger he is to everyone around him.
Well, and like I know that some people don't like to talk about this, but the moral fiber of a hunter is actually deeply important because
Yeah.
they are being given very much a blank check to head out into the wilderness and do whatever they want. Like, you have to have absolute confidence in that person's moral fiber because who knows what the
Yeah,
fuck they could do out in the middle of nowhere in the woods.
yeah, counterpoint, we've seen several rogues that don't give a fuck. And Card and his team are still somehow there, despite apparently not having learned anything by the time we get to the final tournament.
I'm not saying it's followed. I'm saying it should be something that's important. But like, even still, like Cardin being an asshole, you can put that down to a shithead kid being a shithead kid. There's a world of difference between, all right, this dude's kind of a racist asshole. He can grow out of that, and this dude faked his transcripts to get into life-saving career academy.
Well, it's not just that, right?
No,
It's
no, hang on, no, hang on. Again, I just went over this 20 minutes ago, whatever.
yes,
He can learn through those 4 years. If he passes, he's as good as the worst person on that list then. Like, there's not a big world difference between those two in that case. And we still have to discuss this within canon, not what should have happened.
yeah,
We're talking about moral fiber. Yang wouldn't be in there
true.
because she is way too hot-headed to
Fair.
be the face of anything. Because that's what huntsman hunters are. They are the face of humanity's stanchion.
I mean, personally speaking, I don't think Cardin should have gotten into Beacon, but I can totally understand. Again, this is like, I think this is the key problem of Ruby, when it comes to the first 3 seasons. I'm not going to talk about the Ruby world building as a whole. I'm talking about the first 3 seasons and how they handled it. I think the fact that Ruby did not have 20-minute episodes of a standardized length for the first 3 seasons is a massive demerit in Ruby's ability to world build, to build up the characters around the cast in a way where we're capable of saying anything about them. Like, it makes no sense that the school would have a problem with John forging his transcripts to get in if Cardin the racist, who regularly bullies students for being a different race than him, was let in.
Especially when he, at least once, expressed those opinions in front of a teacher in the middle of a lecture.
Yes. And the
Like,
most
it
he
wasn't-
got
he didn't
was
keep it hidden.
extra work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he didn't keep it hidden. He was very open about it.
So, while I will agree that, oh, you can train the racism out of him over the 4 years, sure, totally, I agree. But at the same time, you can say the same for John of, okay, well, he can be, trained up to snuff to a certain extent.
Sure, but
if he can survive 4 years to graduation, yeah.
sure, but he
Which is the
shouldn't be
linchpin.
there in the first place, is my point.
Well,
Right.
neither should Cardin.
Neither we're
No,
not
but for all of Cardin's
disputing
faults,
that.
he passed his examination.
Mhm.
Right,
On a
but
surface level.
what I'm saying though is that the examination should be taking, like, if you're gonna sit there and say that the examination, there should be a moral component to you being a huntsman, which I don't disagree with. I'm just saying, if that is an argument, then Cardin shouldn't have passed his examination because part of the examination should have been not being massively racist.
And
Impossible
certainly
challenge.
not acting on those impulses either.
And not just that,
he
in
did.
both ways. So for Faunus too, you can't have a Faunus coming in being like, yeah, the White Fang is right, humans need to die. You can't have
Yeah.
him becoming a huntsman.
Keep.
I
Listen,
mean, if we're talking,
listen.
if
We'll
we're
let him be a
continuing with the
huntsman.
moral
We'll keep him
fiber,
on the island.
if we're gonna continue on the moral fiber, how the fuck is Blake there?
True.
Well, at
But-
least with Blake, in theory, because, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but Ozpin and Glinda know who she is, right?
Yes.
Ozpin certainly does, but again, if we're gonna discuss the
But if
moral components of
Ozpin's the one letting her in, then Ozpin can make it. Not that I think he should be making this decision, but
okay,
Ozpin can look at it and go, "This is a child who got caught up in something bad. They're trying to redeem themselves, and they left before it got
okay,
really bad."
all
Like-
right. Then if we're gonna go with that, this kid's got potential. He's trying his best. We'll see how he does.
Yes.
Same logic
And
applied.
that's what I'm saying is there is unfortunately a line of logic that defends John by the mere existence of Carden existing, and the reason why that it exists is because what I was leading into was I could understand if Carden was let in because they later on in the full-length episodes of 3 seasons
No.
and the amount of lore and shit they would be able to go over in that, it gets revealed that, the reason why Carden was able to get in was because his dad's a legacy, or, his dad's on the council and Carden's some real fucking puffed up nobody and he thinks he's hot shit, and he can go through a whole fucking character arc like he did in canon about being brought down to level, learning to not be a massive asshole, etc., learning the important parts of being a huntsman, whatever. But the fact is that because there wasn't enough time left in the story to have anything outside of the direct cast having a direct story, we don't have that. We don't have the beacon criteria. We don't have how Carden got in. We don't have how fucking incompetent dipshits like Sky got in.
Yeah.
Like-
Honestly, there's once again,
Yeah,
this all comes back to Ruby having absolutely terrible world building.
I mean, it's equal parts good and terrible in a weird fucking way. Like, some of it's kind of well laid out,
Well, yeah.
in other, not so much.
But yeah, so I can see the arguments for why John would be allowed to stay despite his transcripts being found out. My argument wasn't so much, oh, he should absolutely be expelled, but more it's the level of fakery involved in doing what he did. Like, it wasn't like he just went and tried to lie on his transcripts. He went, found a wanted criminal, purchased a falsified government document from the wanted criminal, and then tried to submit it to Beacon. That's a extra step of malicious action.
Yeah.
And I don't really think you can make an argument that it's not malicious action. Because it's just like, oh, yeah, I went down to the wanted criminal down the street and I bought a gun with its ID filed off of it. And then I tried to go into a location that I shouldn't have a gun in and told them I don't have a gun. Then I pulled out the gun. It's like, wow. You're putting people at risk, doing something illegal, and you're supporting the local crime doing it. Okay. Even, like, he should have had some form of punishment. I'm not saying, oh, fucking kill him. I'm not saying even expel him. I'm just saying there should have been some level of retributive punishment that explicitly outlines why exactly him doing what he did was not only beyond stupid, but actively detrimental to society.
Yeah.
But again, because of the Ruby episodic inconsistency length,
Yeah.
we didn't have time for that.
If an episode during Volume 1, at least if an episode was longer than 5 minutes, we knew we were getting a fight.
Yep.
That was about
Yeah.
it. There's something that still bothers me every so often when I remember it. And it's the aura unlocking scene,
Yes.
which Pierre doesn't even question. That someone got into Beacon, far enough into Beacon for initiation, and didn't have their aura unlocked. And the uncomfortable implication that sometimes civilians stumble their way into this somehow is starting to settle in. And that's kind of worrying.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sometimes people just show up to combat school with absolutely no aura in the Grim Forest.
Yeah, it's
And the initiation that changes every year. 'Cause they have to change it up, otherwise people can more easily cheat their way into the school.
yeah. It's just it's really it's really confounding, that whole sequence of events, cuz it's like Pierre's like, "Oh, okay, I want to partner with this guy, right? Okay. Fine." And then she throws her spear at him. And this spear pierces through his hoodie, pinning him to a tree.
Yep.
Said hoodie is durable enough to not be cut open by the generative force of gravity pulling it on the sharp end of the spear as John flailed around. So his hoodie was rubbing against the sharp end of the spear, not being cut, despite, I would say, what, John being put at 160 pounds?
Yeah, something like that.
Despite 160 pounds of gravity being put on that spear's bladed edge. So John's hoodie is apparently tough as shit.
Listen, let it never be said that Pumpkin Pete skimped out on quality material for his hoodies, alright?
True. But so this hoodie is tough as shit, but the spear pierced it. But clothing doesn't get really damaged until their aura starts running out in Ruby.
Yeah.
Which means either John doesn't have aura, and Pyrrha knew it from the start, which is why she tried to pin his shirt with the spear, because that wouldn't have worked. If he had aura, it would have impacted his shirt and fallen away.
Yeah.
Or she believed she could break his aura in one spear thrust.
Maybe the Yandere Pyrrha stories were a little closer to the truth than we thought.
Alternately, it could just be that she was hoping that it would hit his hoodie and arrest his momentum slightly.
That makes no sense at all.
Well, no, because if it can hit, if she can throw it hard enough, even if she doesn't break his aura, she can impart momentum, if a different kind of directional momentum. So instead of him going straight down, maybe he hits a bunch of branches on the way down. Sure, his face looks like shit, but he didn't pancake.
Right, but the problem with that idea is that is assuming that Pyrrha knew the exact location John was falling into, and thus was capable of calculating how much thrust her spear would push towards John into a tree or something.
I mean,
Yeah.
she hit him. Well, she
But
hit his hoodie.
that's what I'm saying though is Yandere Pyrrha might actually not be too far off. Yeah, so this is what I'm saying though, right? Is that if she was trying to impart force to him to push him to what she believed was a safer spot with more branches that he could hit on the way down, she would not aim for his hoodie, she would aim for center mass. Because aiming for the hoodie would not impart force onto his
Yeah.
body, it would impart force onto the hoodie, which would at best make him like start doing fucking corkscrews. Which would have been hilarious.
You know what?
Probably would
You know
use the
what? I
shield
will
over the
accept that.
spear.
I will accept that explanation for why Yandere Pyrrha is reality. She didn't want to stop him from falling. She wanted to make him do a flip while he did.
Oof.
True.
Honestly, the more every time that scene gets brought up for one reason or another, all I can think about is like they really fucked up by not having Jean have snuck someone to give him his aura or something. Like
Yeah, it just
stick
makes no
with the
sense.
stick with the story that dad didn't want to teach his son for some reason, or dad is off on so many missions he doesn't have time. It's a frontier town. There's no one really around to handle it. Whatever.
Oh my god, I'm actually so pissed now. Oh my fucking god.
What?
My brain has
What?
just generated an entire scene. Because the whole purpose of John not having aura was because Miles and Carrie were such fucking hack writers that they didn't know how to explain aura to the audience without doing some sort of stupid bullshit tutorial garbage. And so what they did instead was they had a stupid farm boy get introduced to aura by someone who is educated so they can explain to the character and the audience at the same time. But all they had to do was have the exact same scene play out. And John's panicking and his like you can have as he's falling, his aura could be like flickering on and off as he's trying to figure out how to, not pancake because he's never done this before. Maybe he's like he got his aura awakened and he wasn't really keen on learning how to create a shield and then testing that shield. Like he could do it alone when not under a stressful scenario. And then he never was like, I'm going to go fight a Grim to see if I can keep my aura shield up.
Well, and the whole reason he was doing it alone was because his family doesn't want him to be a Grim. A Grim.
Doesn't want him to be
I think most parents don't want their kids to be Grim.
The reason they're scared is he's got like some Bloodborne tier shit where you can be Grim.
Honestly,
and
never learned to fear
on
the blood.
Bumbling farm boy, I would have had his aura unlocked in like some very basic training or something. And you introduce the aura by showing. We got to see the first class of history and the first class of Grim Studies. Why not see the first class for combat?
Yeah.
Where Glinda's like, this is what aura is as a reminder. This is how we're gonna. Your aura is read by your scroll, and we're gonna keep that posted up for everyone to see it, and then lead to your first combat one-on-one.
But I'm talking about just raw. They don't need to change any animation. They don't need to record that many new lines. They don't minimal effort fix for this, right?
Add a shitty flickery white glow to John.
Yeah, he's trying to figure it out. It's not working. Aura sees him, throws her spear at him, pins him to the tree. He gets down, and Pyrrha's like, oh shit, did I break your aura? I'm so sorry. I was trying to help you. And John's like, no, don't I'm not too good at the whole shield thing yet. And then she can explain some stuff about aura to him and how to create a shield real quick, whatever. And they can have that whole little explanation moment that gets the audience knowledgeable about what the fuck aura is, what it can do, and why it matters. And they can have the whole bonding moment between John and Pyrrha still. Like, you can fulfill everything the canon did, and all you have to do is just have John not be skilled with using his aura as a shield, instead of John not having aura.
Yeah, and
because it makes way more sense that Pyrrha thought he had aura when she threw the spear at him, thinking that, like, again, she's like aiming at his chest or something, and then he sees the spear and is like trying to dodge it or some shit, and that's why his hoodie gets pierced. Not that she aimed specifically to pierce his hoodie to arrest his momentum, as it's implied she did, because that would imply that she knows he doesn't have aura from the start, which I don't know how she would know that unless people with aura can sense when other people don't have aura. Which, that opens a whole fucking can of worms.
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna go take a quick piss.
Okay, everyone go quiet so his headset turns off.
Yep.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, look, it remains a consistent problem with Ruby of, boy, I really wish
this was
a
better
competent writing team had gotten a hold of this. My God, do I wish that someone like Brandon Sanderson, who has some fantastic world building, had this. But no, we don't get that.
We have a bunch of people who watched one fucking mid anime and then we're like, oh yeah, we can totally write better than
No,
this.
hang on. They watched several mid-anime, thank you.
Yeah.
Actually, no, Monty gave them homework of like some of the best stuff, and unfortunately, they gravitated to the actual like middling anime instead of the really good stuff.
Well, because they
Like,
can't really make something out of the best stuff, even though they totally could have.
I mean, they also did the homework without absorbing what the homework was teaching them. So,
That's
well, yeah, I would say that was the
that's
problem.
the largest chunk of the problem.
Because heaven forbid they learn and comprehend. No. The U.S. school system doesn't promote that anymore.
Honestly, I don't remember if it was Miles or Carrie, but one of them apparently preferred Sword Art Online over something else.
What wasn't it like Cowboy Bebop or something?
No, it was fucking Full Metal Alchemist. I remember now.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, I like this instead of Full Metal Alchemist, and everyone tore him a fucking new one.
Oh, but it's like, okay, that's fine, but why didn't you pull any of the good stuff out of SAO then? Like, the way the romance between Kirito and Asuna was handled, because that was actually really solid. Why didn't you include some of the existential dread that we get to see other characters around Kirito go through? Because the anime and the original light novel don't do a very good job of showing his thoughts on things, but it does a great job of showing everyone around him and how they're coping with the existential dread of, I could die tomorrow because I made one misclick, so to speak.
Yeah.
You didn't pick up any of the good habits that SAO actually did have in the first part. None. I don't even know what the bad habits they picked up for it. I just know that it was nothing but bad habits.
Yeah, it's just
Gentlemen,
the whole thing is just absolutely atrocious, and I don't know how you manage it, but you did.
Imagine Beacon Mirrors universities now in the real world where classes have to start from the beginning and instead of assuming you're competent in it already.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I saw that rebuttal. The good professors are like, you're gonna do a pop quiz today, so I get an idea of where you're all sitting at. And some of them are like, all right, you didn't even pass this quiz. You need to go back. Because I can't take time to
Yeah.
teach you this stuff when everyone else is where they need to be.
Yeah.
That or spend the first day like we're gonna go over the basics again because it's been 3 months since you kids were in any sort of course.
Yeah.
I mean,
Meanwhile, I'm
honestly,
just over here.
between how Beacon runs itself, I would honestly expect a less university environment and more a here's day one. This is where we all expect you to be. So if you're not already at this level, get to it. By March, we're going to be, at this level. We'll be going over these things in class. Do them. They're due by this date. We'll be quizzing you on it, etc., etc., etc. And just kind of just being like, hey, here's our expectations. Meet them. Figure it out. Because they're huntsmen, not doctors.
Yeah. Again, there's a lot that Beacon should be doing differently because it is, as people have functionally pointed out, it is university. Like, sure, they let the kids in a little bit early, but like, yeah, there should be a higher standard expected of them because they're there and they're training to be, heroes.
And not only that, it's like, yeah, sure, they're training in subjects that are important. Rim studies, important. History, important. Weapon making, important. Dust usage, important. Weapon maintenance facilities, combat arenas. All of this stuff is important to being a huntsman. And even some of the more, basic stuff, just like fucking math, language. Oh, communication and numbers. Kind of fucking important. So I like that sort of level of stuff I understand. And that's what I expected. And I can see the math and language courses being more classical in their implementation. But, I mean, and even history. But, like, dust making. Well, if your semblance really works best with fire dust and doesn't play nice with ice dust, they're probably not going to do some retarded Department of Educational bullshit and be like, nope, you have to get an A on your ice dust semblance usage past this class. It's like, they're probably just going to, like, the dust class is probably just, all right, here's the forms of dust. Find which ones are best for your semblance. Find which ones are best for your weapons you use and your combat styles. Know how the rest of the dusts interact with everything, and generally just get used to operating with that dust and etc.
Yeah.
Like, I can't see a real world university class being made out of it. I can see it sort of being made if you were going to be some sort of like dust engineer in a non-combat role of dust engineering for something. I can totally see that being turned into like a chemistry like class. But if you're training huntsmen, I don't see why they would need to know the periodic table of dust interaction. I can see why they would need to know how it interacts with them, how it interacts with their team, how the various dusts they are going to be usually operating with. So the 5 elements typically are going to interact with each other. But I can't see the more advanced shit. And honestly, what is Coco's team? Year 3, year 4?
They're second years, I think, when we're introduced to them.
Really? Okay.
Well, yeah.
The idea that second years effectively just go out on missions and then come back and turn in their homework, at the end of the month or whatever, that makes more sense than any other structure of schooling. Their purpose is to become huntsmen, And yeah, we're trying to teach them general knowledge that helps them both be huntsmen and not make the mistakes of, the past, because they are going to be given a lot of fucking power. And generally, let's try and teach these kids not to blow themselves up trying out something new with dust.
No, if they do that, that's okay.
What could go wrong, dude?
True. But, yeah, so anyway, Yandere Pira.
True.
Osmond says generally, just get your shit together and prove that you're worth it here. Hunter apprenticeship application. You have a lot of work to do, not denying that. You can go apply to be an apprentice to a huntsman. I've never heard of this application before. Why offer me this? This is how huntsmen trained before the academies. Apprentices still do this a lot. The apprentices spend all their time traveling and fighting Grim. Condense years of schooling into a single month. The reasons we avoid advertising this is because some students prefer this over classroom studies. I can see why. Nora would definitely jump to get out of class like this. Though Osmond said there was dangers. Yes, the fatality rates of apprenticeships are very high. And yeah, that's usually why we did shit like that. Like, trade schools only occurred when the number of people we needed to be a carpenter outstripped the ability to apprentice to a carpenter.
Yeah.
You can still skip trade schools by just apprenticing as a carpenter. Same thing for electrician. You can get certified to a certain degree. You're not going to be a master electrician. You still have to take a certain amount of years and apprenticeship to become a master electrician. But you do skip a large portion of the time that would be on the job learning by going to a trade school to do and learn the trade.
Yeah.
And we only did that because we needed more people than we could train with an apprenticeship. And it's the same fucking shit for warriors. We needed more soldiers than the father could teach the son how to fight. So we needed to make a fucking boot camp for them. It was safer
yeah,
too.
we've been doing that for right. The knight has hundreds of years of combat experience relative to everybody else, right? He's been in actual combat. He's had thousands of hours of training and thousands of hours of actual combat, and he can teach like maybe 3 or 4 people at most effectively. But for peasant bumfuck McGee that we just want to stand in a line and hold a pike, put him in a line and yell at him at how to hold the pike for 2 weeks and tell him to get out there and hold the pike.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Hold the line, idiot.
But the point of that though is what I'm saying here is that yeah, it's a lot safer to train someone in a school in mass than it is to one at a time dole out single apprenticeships to various warriors who can take on the apprenticeship, because you got to keep in mind not every huntsman's probably able to keep afloat, with surplus doing hunting jobs, because
Yeah.
some of them aren't, I'm not going to say aren't good enough, but they're not like, some huntsmen just aren't going to be able to take on a barangel.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be able to take on jobs that could have one show up. So they're not going to be able to do certain jobs ranging out to a certain distance, which means they're going to pay less, which means they're
Again,
not
the
going to be able
fact
to
that-
afford taking on another person to train.
I would say just the fact that there's not some kind of huntsman guild and it doesn't have like an adventurers guild style, however you want to do it. tier ranking system, whatever.
They
Like
really should. They missed a
there
grand
there
opportunity with
100%
that.
needs to be one, because as I'm gonna take Goblin Slayer as an example, right? Everybody goes, "Oh my God, he's a silver rank adventurer. How did he get there? He just killed a fuckload of goblins by himself."
Don't. I was gonna say, don't fuck with goblins in that setting.
No, but like, well, A, don't fuck with goblins, but B, right? The point being is, why does he deserve silver? Oh, he has spent 10,000 hours alone in the woods murdering things. He deserves silver rank, right? There's all kinds of stuff that he's prepared for and he can do versus the kids who showed up yesterday and barely know how to hold a sword. Yeah, we'll send them to fight some fucking rats in the sewer. Maybe they'll live.
And they die to the rats.
They
All right,
died to
hang
the
on a minute.
suspicious. They
Hang
died
on
to
a
the
minute.
suspiciously
Hang on a
larger
minute.
rats.
Sneaky. You remember, come on, everybody's gone down to a dire rat at least once when they're level 1.
Yeah, dire rat, totally.
Maybe.
But yeah, anyway, right? The like Sneaky was saying, there should absolutely be some kind of ranking system to denote who can take what jobs and where. And here's the thing: you could even have the hunter apprenticeship system. You can have it be subsidized by the local
True.
government.
Yeah.
Just have them go, hey, this kid wants to be a huntsman. He couldn't get into Huntsman Academy. Bring him with you on some jobs. You take on relatively less dangerous jobs, and we'll give you a 20% bonus and a stipend to make sure the kid is fed and clothed every week.
Yeah, I can see it. I mean, I don't know. It's just a mixed bag of. You tend to want your best treating. You tend to want to do the American thing of taking your best out of the line of fire so they can train the next generation with all of their tips and tricks that they learn because they are the best. And a large portion of that is actually just skill. It's not always like, oh well, I have large aura reserves, which means I can do stupider things, because those people tend to end up dying.
Yeah, it's fair. But then, of course, you could also just have like the basic tier of whatever. I was like, oh, what do we give them in order to keep them in the fight? We give them a hat, some shoes, a shirt, and a weapon. Everything else is optional.
Well, yeah, right, but like, again, you could have all kinds of people, right? For whatever reason, they're not right. You could have people that aren't suited for teaching, but you still want them to try to pass on their knowledge. So you throw some apprentices at them. Cool. Maybe they teach some kids. Maybe some washouts who weren't good enough to make it into school anyway die. What do you care? As the like, what does the government care? The answer is they don't.
Yeah.
And that's not some ultra pessimistic thing. Like, the government doesn't care about individual citizens. They should, but they don't. The government
can't.
cares about keeping the citizens just happy enough that they're willing to let the government continue doing what they're doing. Like, and part of that in the Ruby universe is, boy, we need to make sure there's a shitload of huntsmen patrolling all the time. So, hey, this kid wants to go to huntsman school and he failed out. That's fine. When he leaves the testing center, make sure that he gets slipped a brochure for a hunter apprenticeship, and we'll have a list of hunters that you can apprentice with.
I was gonna say,
yeah.
I think there'd be something interesting in terms of just like, what does John do if he's not a hunter? I mean, he could just become like a strategist in some way. Could become a leader. Or something.
Lame, stupid as well because he's stupid, but also has.
I was saying more as just like
he
an
has anime
alternative
ideas of strategy. But no.
Mickey, I recognize it wouldn't normally work, but we're also working with Ruby logic, where apparently that shit just works.
Anyway, point being is that I mean, there's plenty of John doesn't get into beacon stories out there that I think are really weird because it's just like you're gonna go with some AU bullshit anyway, right? Like we all recognize that John doesn't get into beacon stories or John gets thrown out of beacon stories. Always go with like some wild AU bullshit that explains why John's able to not only train up, but also get on the level and slash and or get revenge. Why not just have the Hunters Guild? Why not just have John get kicked out of Beacon or get refused from Beacon? And he turns around, he's like, "Oh, I want to be a hunter anyway." And, he sees the Hunters Guild, and they're like, "Apprentices, join now, apprentice today. No barrier of entry." And he's like, "All right, fine."
Yeah.
And that's what he does instead.
I mean, I found a story during last stream that had the thing that made the most sense in a world where frontier towns exist and would absolutely have hunters passing through. He learned from a huntsman who settled down in his town for a while,
Yeah.
and the author to give Jean a kick in the ass, had his family nearly die to a grim attack in their frontier town when he was still a child. Like, yeah, why wouldn't huntsmen and huntresses be passing through these towns? Why wouldn't there be one through, like, yeah, fuck the big city. I'm gonna go settle down in this town out here, and I'll just help with the
Well,
local
not
guard.
only that, like, it would make sense that most of the bigger towns that exist, especially Arktown, as I'm going to call it, because, I mean, I'm sorry, you can't be like, "Oh yeah, John's grandfather, famous retired huntsman, world famous even. So famous, he has a statue in Beacon of him." Yeah, so wherever John's grandfather retires, he's probably going to get a lot of other retired huntsmen around him who probably either served with him or under him. And it's going to form a town. And that's just kind of going to be a thing that starts to perpetuate as the next generation gets old and starts to retire, and they're probably going to either retire near their family, which is probably going to be near the town, or they're going to go to the town because they know it's one of the bigger retiree towns for huntsmen. And so, like, that's what, like, half those towns in Ruby should or would have been, is just towns that got big enough threshold to support basically urban living, but in a rural setting, and everyone in town is either son or daughter of a huntsman, or a retired huntsman.
Yeah.
And so there's a safety threshold there that allows the town to live outside the walls. But anyway, I don't know. It's just there's just so much wrong with everything in Ruby, and every single time we read it's honestly wild that every single time we read a story in Ruby of this section, we find something new to complain about. Even 6 years later, we're still finding more new things to get grumpy about in Ruby. It's honestly just mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So anyway, John's gonna train under Pyrrha, blah blah blah. Apprenticeship. I found out Osmond told it wasn't Carden. Pyrrha did it. Why Pyrrha? I'm lucky I'm not expelled. Okay, so he's telling Ruby all this now, and he's telling Ruby he's gonna go be an apprentice. Are you gonna go do an apprenticeship? My partner wants me gone. Most of the school knows about me now. I won't be a liability. They would never say you're a liability. Nora's always looked up to you. Thank you, Ruby, for your support. He accepted. Blah blah blah. Why are you doing this, Ozpin? Well, you see.
As you see, I have a really hot witch wife, and I want to fuck her.
He beat me in a game of chess. What? He beat you in chess? That's impossible. No one can beat you in chess. Yes. He foresaw every single move I could have tried. He's a masterful grandmaster chess player of foreseeing it, foreseement, and he's just so amazing at strategy and
Alright.
tactics.
Okay, let's dial the artistic liberties down a bit, Sneaky.
Artistic liberties is how he like.
No,
Improved.
Max, I won't, because this is another massive fucking issue of mine, is where people are like, oh, he's a good chess player. That means he can do combat tactics in real time.
He's
No.
clearly just playing Civ with
No,
like.
it just means Ozpin's been cheating this entire time.
True.
Harder.
But yeah, no, I fucking hate this shit where people are like, oh, being good at chess means you're good at fights. It's like, no. Being good at chess means you memorize the move list. And that's literally what it is. Like, if you look at all of the grandmasters, like, no new moves in chess have been invented since, like, the 1800s.
Well, yes, because chess as a game has been solved. There are optimum things you can do.
Like it is all skill, no luck, no fucking anything.
No, there's no
No, it's
skill
not
in
even
it.
skill. Literally, the top tier grandmasters, and one of the reasons why women have not been able to break into the top tier grandmasters is the men at the top aren't like super smart, mega smart dudes. They are smart guys, don't get me wrong. Not saying they're not smart. But their greatest skill is rote memorization. They can and being able to apply it. So there's like dozens of chess strategies that can come from a single piece being moved. And the top tier grandmasters are able to go, okay, this person does these things, this is their personality type, they've done this strategy in the past, so the most likely strategy they're doing right now by moving the pawn e4 to e5 is going to be the Springmaster's Gambit, which means I need to move my rook to e7 to counter their eventual castle move. Right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's them pretty much memorizing the entire list of movesets and then going, okay, here's the person I'm playing, this is what they've done in the past, this is what they're likely doing now, and this is the counter for it.
Yeah.
There is no skill involved. There is skill in the higher and mid-tier range of just being able to raw predict and respond, not having memorized everything yet. But the top tiers of chess is quite literally just pure memorization.
Yeah. There's I mean, that's just it. There's no anything involved to it. It's just, okay, he moved his thing here and this thing there, so I have to move this thing there to do this and do this and do this. And if he moves here, I need to go there. And if he goes there, I need to go there. Like, that's the thing. Like, if you want people who are good at tactics, it's ironically, you'd be much better off looking at a game like StarCraft. Like,
Yeah.
now, that's also something that's been pretty solved, but
Yeah, I mean there is that as well. It is unfortunately, but at the end of the day, the problem with any event that does not resolve in the death of the opponent, it is going to massively limit the amount of actions you can take. And if people are alive to learn from their mistakes afterwards, that means that eventually you will come to solutions to every single thing. Because eventually everyone's just going to figure out the most optimal route to play anything that's non-lethal.
yeah.
Because when it gets lethal, shit gets, people will just start doing some insane shit, and sometimes in that one specific moment, the most optimal route was the absolute batshit shit they just did of, like, throwing a
Literally-
grenade up in the air, hitting it with another grenade in their hand, throwing that grenade behind them after pulling the pin, and then shooting the grenade in front of them, finally. And it somehow ends up fucking saving them, sending the shrapnel in just all of the directions it needed to go without hitting them somehow, and it saved their life in the end. Not repeatable, not counterable, not predictable, and everyone who could have learned from it are dead.
Yeah.
It's not like chess. It's not like StarCraft, which has a very concrete set of rules with a limited number of moves that ultimately, at the end of the day, can be reviewed over and over and over again on footage to find the most optimal counter to it.
Yeah.
So, it's a very big Hollywoodism of, oh, I'm good at chess, therefore I know how to direct a squad in live combat against the Infinite Death Army.
Which just has no basis on reality.
Unless, reality is turn-based. Then I guess it could. But, yeah, so it's just, oh yeah, he beat me in chess. He's so fucking good. Oh, just masturbate harder.
I'm sorry, all I can think of now, someone, you get isekai'd into Ruby,
No.
and you have a gamer system, but all it does is let you set everything up in a turn-based battle. But it's like the episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Where Yu-Gi-Oh's friends were turned into the cards. They don't get a say in it. They're just turned into a turn-based battle piece.
Oh man, turn-based battles, I can do that easily. I can take all my time to decide my moves. Crit for 200. Welcome to hell, bitch.
Turn timer activated. But no, Yang, you're gonna go let that thing hit you in the face for 50 turns. But why? Because I checked. It can only do 2 damage to you.
True. Yeah, so of course this is obviously going to end up being a John Ruby story, so because the first chapter ends with Ruby Rose being the only other student that applied for the apprenticeship, and guess who is going to be teaching them? That's right, the only named character that isn't in the fucking story at this point, Crow. So Crow's going to be teaching them. And of course, while they go into hard combat under Crow, they will obviously do the obvious biological thing that always occurs every single time men and women fight together under a circumstance that causes them to realize their mortality. That's right, they have sex. And this is not going to be a John times Pyrrha story because Pyrrha accidentally de-waifu'd herself by making John think that she hated him.
This whole thing is just fucking stupid.
I mean,
Yeah,
yes.
It's stupid.
That's why we're here, clearly.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I know, but still.
But yeah. So anyway, it's 9:30, so I think we can safely cut it off here. No one gets bingo.
No one will ever get bingo.
No one will ever
Many
get
such
bingo.
cases.
Many such cases. So we will see everyone on Friday.